Hey everyone, my name is Becca and welcome to my channel. If you have been with us before, welcome back. And if you are new here, we focus on all things First Chapter Friday, specifically for your favorite middle grade novels. So today we are going to be reading Iveliz Explains It All by Andrea Beatriz Arango. This is actually a novel in verse, which you may see is really rising in popularity amongst middle grade novels. So if you have not read a novel in verse yet, I highly recommend you get your hands on one, and this is a phenomenal place to start because it is a Newbery Honor winner. All right, we are going to start by reading the front and side cover, which gives a little excerpt and synopsis what this novel is going to be about. And I do want to give a quick disclaimer. There is a lot of dialect words and phrases that are spoken in Spanish in this book. And as I am not a native Spanish speaker, I'm going to do my absolute very best to read this with authenticity. But in reality, I know that I am probably going to flounder at that. So keep that in mind, please. Listen up. The end of elementary school, worst time of my life. And the start of middle school, I just wasn't right. But this year, yo voy a mí. Seventh grade is going to be Iveliz's year. She's going to make a new friend and help her abuela Mimi get settled after moving from Puerto Rico. And she is not going to get into any more trouble at school. Except is that what happens? Of course not. Because no matter how hard Iveliz tries, sometimes people just say things that make her so mad. And worse, Mimi keeps saying Iveliz's medicine is unnecessary, even though it helps Iveliz feel less sad. But how do you explain your feelings to others when you're not even sure what's going on yourself? Powerful and compassionate, Andrea Beatriz Arango's debut navigates mental health, finding your voice, and discovering that those who really love you will stay by your side. All right, we are going to dive in. Now, we're going to have to tweak what we are calling this today because this book does not have traditional chapters. As I mentioned before, it has verses. So we are actually just going to read the first 10 pages of this novel as opposed to the first chapter. This first verse is titled Second Chances. Why is it that principals love giving second chances? Love reminding me they were kids too. Love acting like they're doing me a favor, doing my mom a favor, by sitting me down all serious and asking what they can do. Well, guess what? This is seventh grade now, and I don't need anyone's help but my own. I've moved on from everything that happened. I've made lists and I've made goals. And if I'm in the principal's office, you can 100% bet that it wasn't my fault. Who can you trust? If you ask my teachers, they might say I'm a liar because I always insist things are not my fault. And if you ask my mom, she might say que soy una dramatica because she used to sometimes think my old panic attacks were about getting attention and not an anxious brain response. But journal, don't listen to them because these right here, they're my true inner thoughts. And if you can't trust a girl and her poems, well, who can you trust? Back it up. Mommy gave you to me last week, hardcover, gold trim, like my TikTok wouldn't be good enough if I really wanted to speak. She says it's to encourage my creativity. Disque paver if I can actually get some writing in. But I know what it really is. But I know what it is really. Mimi, my abuelita, is coming real soon, and Mommy's worried it'll make me switch back. Like my grandma will somehow fly me through time, before the pills and Dr. Turnip, back when things were all out of whack. Por favor, I am 12, and Mimi has had Alzheimer's forever. I mean, years and years. I'm not gonna get a panic attack just because she forgets my name. Si fuese por eso, I'd get them every day at school. 'Cause listen. The end of elementary school, worst time of my life. And the start of middle school, I just wasn't quite right. But this year, yo voy a mí, because yo soy una Dora, yo soy Latina. Me, I am Iveliz, Margarita Snow Medina. And that's Iveliz, not Ivy Liz. Eve to my friends and family. Anke, even though I've explained, the vet is short, like in pet. It seems nobody ever remembers to twist their mouths the right way. Like in that spoken word poem by Elizabeth Acevedo and Pages Matam and G. Yamazawa, the real spoken poetry OG. Except unlike them, most times I talk when I shouldn't and am quiet when I should screech. So maybe I need some lessons on figuring out when to hold my thoughts in. ISBI. It means in school behavior intervention. It means I messed up my second chance. But what was I supposed to do? I was telling Amir about Mimi moving in. Amir is my only friend. And then Jessica and Justin G heard me. And Jessica was all, oh my God, what? That's so sad. Is she coming here legally? Or are you like getting her a visa? Because we're all about immigration, but do it right. And I swear my hair crackled. Frizzy curls, spitting fire. Because this is exactly what I was talking about before. Jessica and Justin G, they never get in trouble. Even though they're the ones being terrible, practically non-stop. I told them they were racists, and maybe a few other words too. And then I was shoving Jessica to the ground before anyone had a chance to alert the adults in the school. So all I can do now, Journal, is hope the front office doesn't call mommy right away. Because Amir seeing me get in trouble, that's plenty enough for one day. I don't need to cause any more disappointment. No gracias. Not today. Not my job. It just gets so tiring. I mean, it's not even that hard to learn. Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory, sort of like D.C., which means mommy is a U.S. citizen, even though she grew up going to school in Spanish and eating a rose con pernil. She always says how lucky she is, how all she had to do was grab her passport and board a plane, how she has had so much privilege because she didn't have to risk her life, risk her money, risk her home and family and job, all to come work her butt off in the continental United States. At school, I did a whole presentation post Hurricane Maria because my school was doing a canned food drive. But do Jessica and Justin G remember what I talked about? Remember my pictures and facts and slides? Of course not. Because all Hispanics are illegal to them. And illegal always means bad. Dad thinks he's funny. He sees me, scribbling angry poems as I sit on the living room couch. Says he was a poet too. Supuestamente EK in college. And that's how he swept mommy off her feet. Later, I ask where the poem's at. But she laughs and says, your daddy? He never wrote a poem in his life. Dios mío, she laughs. Te imaginas? Except when I report back to Dad, Dad winks at me. Wide. Wider. Girl, he drawls out, accent thick and warm, full of crawfish and Louisiana swamp. There's more to poetry than words. And I groan and fake puke. Because there's nothing worse than thinking about your dad being all romantic. Except maybe thinking about your mom, all young, lipstick on, falling for his flirts. All right, that was the first 10 pages of Iveliz Explains It All. I am very intrigued by this story because I can already tell this story is going to be one of those books that helps me understand a culture that is outside of my own. And I love books like that because I love to put myself in other people's shoes, learn other perspectives, and get a different insight on lives that are different than what my life looks like. So very excited to dive into this more, especially because I know it got such high accolades. So If you enjoyed this first chapter Friday read aloud, please consider liking and subscribing. It makes me really happy. And yeah, that's it. And until the next first chapter Friday, happy reading, everyone.